legends.
Welcome to Big D Energy on Woodward Sports.
Featuring four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, the golden voice of Neil Rule, and the iconic Terry Foster. Sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D Energy.
Yo, what is going on? It is not Neil. We got Flannel Sam in the hot seat today. Welcome, Big D Energy here. If you're in the Metro Detroit area, as we are, it's snowing. It's a snow day. Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, joined as always by the intrepid on the ones and twos, Mr. Spencer Raxter. And it is an honor and a pleasure. He's dressed very fine in all his great Red Wing attire. JB, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Nice to join us. We got JB.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got promoted and stuff, dude. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. They're letting me up to the big leagues for just a couple of days, and then I'm gonna be right back down. But that's all right. That's all right. JB is going to fill in admirably, like he always does. And just a little to give JB his flowers. He picked it up in the booth a lot faster than I did. Just so everybody else knows, JB's the man.
Shocking. So you didn't. Shocking, Flannel. Wow. Doesn't legend kill his own kind? You see that? He just sticks that to athletes. Guys, so what did we learn about Flannel Sam? He will only legend kill athletes, not his fellow man. But I got to tell you this. Listen, I love him in this room or whatever like that. And why is that? What were him and I doing right before the show, Sam?
Talking about wrestling.
We were not only talking about wrestling, I was showing JB how I came about to get this boo-boo the other day. So all my friends out there, Pro Wrestling Edge, all my wrestling guys, Donnie Holland, the rest of the family, yeah, you know the scar that I got. There's a lot of glass being thrown around at RPW, which
yes.
We were watching the match. Congratulations to my boys, Midwest Scum. Forgetting, and I got my receipt. I got my revenge on Atticus Cogar, but I don't think it's done. But yeah, we were having fun. So, and I'm gonna stay here while we're here for all my wrestling fanatics. I think tonight one of the things we were talking about also too, because it's a big week if you're a wrestling fan, right? You had the Raw 30 on Monday night,
yep.
Right, which is the 30th anniversary, 30 years of Raw on Monday night. Sam, how old are you?
I am 31.
Yep. There's the reference. You get that, right?
Oh, yeah.
With the fact that this gentleman here was a year old when Vince McMahon started that. To the fact that tonight on AEW, right, Mark Briscoe, who you saw me bring up, rest his soul, and thank you to everybody for the prayers for the Briscoe family and the Briscoe daughters that lost Jay Briscoe last week. I covered that, and to know that the girls are getting better, and I guess there's some feeling in the legs. The surgeries are being successful. Obviously, it's a long road. But tonight, his brother, Mark Briscoe, had requested by Tony Khan of AEW for a match with Jay Lethal, who they fought 8 times in their career and stuff like this. So this should be a really emotional part. And I just want to say, it's great to see, because this is part of the healing process. So I know that a lot of the time we have the conversation in sports where we've seen it in the past as guys have stepped up to get back out in the field and say, hey, my dad would have wanted me to play, or my brother would have wanted me to play. This is what I do. So it's continuing to do that. And then culminating Saturday night for anybody, Royal Rumble. Big fan of the Royal Rumble, because it's just about the surprises. I'm an entrance guy, right? I love entrances. So really, like, it's not about the wrestling, who gets thrown out. It's already, probably predetermined. Cody Rhodes will come back and win that. But the fact is that who's going to show up? That's who I think.
That's who I think.
Who you think is going to win the Royal Rumble?
I think it's Cody Rhodes. They've been hyping him up way too much to just let him get taken out the last 4. So it has to be Cody Rhodes.
Okay, yeah, no, I would just say, but it's the entrances, and it's the panache, and to have 30 of the women, and there's a lot of things that just exciting in the wrestling world on the big. So thank you for my 2 minutes of something that I love and I'm passionate about. And yeah, Rake, I see you in there too. He's right beside me. Mama Jan and Papa Dan who were there and stuff. So we got a big show lined up anyways. Yes, as you saw by the thumbnail, Daniella Bruce, the voice of LCA for the Red Wings, Detroit RedWings.com, and the voice of Game Day Live, my partner in crime when I'm down there working. And when I tell you guys, obviously yesterday we got into the Larkin discussion, and I want to say thank you to everybody on Twitter that understand where I was coming from. I didn't even respond. I saw some dunce post what I love what I said and then not listen, to go back, but somebody else recouped. Anyways, I have a saying, don't tell me what, tell me who. Daniella Bruce is one of my who's when it comes to what's going on down at LCA. Wing win last night, so we'll get all the scoops of what's going on, and nothing's not going away. But let me use this as an example for everybody out there, because if I'm going to say it and do it, I just stepped away from my Twitter yesterday.
Hey.
Because I had to. It wasn't worth me getting upset. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you that I'm unplugged, right? And you guys can positive, negatively, or whatever you want to what is going to go on. And I'll just sit back, and at the end of the day, when Stevie comes out and tells you this is part of his plan or whatever, and he's going to adjust. So I got something in the second hour after we do, and I sort of tagged it because it's Wednesday for Five for Fighting.
Okay.
Right? But I'm going to do the Daniella Bruce edition, but I'm going to give you a little bit that I brought up before, but I want people to look at this more from the 32,000 foot view. Yeah, we're going 2,000 feet higher than we usually do, because I need people's attention, and I figure a little bit more lack of oxygen, they'll pay attention, JB. So we're going to hammer that in. She'll be joining us in the second hour, but hey, the one thing on the show sheet I wish Neil was here for, but I'm reading here, Blake Corum had his car stolen. Spenny.
Yeah.
What was he doing in East Lansing?
I'm not sure. And
was he in East Lansing?
He was not. I just wanted to make sure.
Whoa, it wasn't in East Lansing. It wasn't a Sparty guy that got him?
No, yeah, he got his car stolen. It wasn't the AD's car either. It was his.
Oh,
it wasn't the AD's car. Okay,
Jesus
it was his car.
It was his car.
Did you say it was a Camaro? He drives a Camaro?
Camaro, yeah. It was a nice car. It was like a black and white camo Camaro, and it got stolen.
Stolen in Ann Arbor.
In Ann Arbor.
Wow, Sam Flannel, speak about your people.
It must have been some of those hoodlums from East Lansing and Columbus who made the trek to Ann Arbor. I know it was one of them, because if you are a true Michigan fan and you steal Blake Corum's car, shame on you. I mean, obviously, I don't know who it was. I'm kind of joking a little bit, but this is Blake Corum. He came back. He came back to Michigan to play his senior season. He was, I would say, definitely their best offensive player last year. He was a Heisman contender before he got hurt, and now he gets his car stolen. Is he going to regret staying now? I certainly hope not. Those are the type of stuffs that you can't let happen. And I hope whoever did this has some majorly inconvenient things happen to them. Like I'm talking, I hope, and I know this isn't logical, but this is what I hope happens, that he park Blake Corum's car, gets into his own car, and slides off the road into a ditch. That's what you should get for stealing Blake Corum's car. In Ann Arbor, in his home, where he is a legend.
Chuck Brewer says in the WoodwardSports.com chat, Neil took it. And he's on. No, Neil's got an alibi. He's actually going to be on the big call tonight with the Pistons and the Nets in Brooklyn. So he was on an airplane. I checked with him, not saying that he doesn't know what's going on, but I mean, it's like at the end of the day, it stinks. But again, did you say it's a camo? It's something that
it's a nice Camaro.
It stands out a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It's black and white camo.
Yeah, I know. It's at the end of the day. That's unfortunate. We don't want anybody to steal anybody else's stuff. But it just, that's brutal.
It just in his own town where he's a legend of a football player. I mean, he's gonna. Imagine if this season he balls out.
Legend is getting thrown around.
You think somebody's going to give his car back without anything, just like the frame of it or whatever like that, stripped down?
It's chopped up for sure already.
Do you think the people that stole it knew it was Blake Corum's car? Because I doubt it.
I doubt it. No,
it's the chop shop rings. So they do now, though.
Yeah.
I bet you they do now. Other things going on. Oh, stay on the Michigan topic. Did I see there's some changes coming?
Yeah.
Are they finally making changes to Tunnel Gate or whatever the heck we called it? What's going on? Let me guess. Was it changed to security ages?
It was not.
It was not security
No,
ages.
we still got the geriatrics out there, but they are removing, I believe it was upwards of 45 seats to make some changes to the tunnel so teams won't be as close in contact with each other.
Do we know what these changes are?
I'm
or
not
just
sure
making
yet.
it bigger and probably just so
yeah.
there's no way to intercede? Well, I mean, all honesty, what do you take of this? Is too little or something that has happened obviously later than it should or be addressed, but the fact that they're at least addressing it?
This is tough for me because speaking of hoodlums from East Lansing,
Oh my God.
Kari Crump though.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Oh, we're gonna get to East Lansing. I'm making my way down.
It's just for so many years it wasn't a major issue, not a major issue enough that there were like big brawls and the topic of expanding the tunnel got brought up. I think it's almost become a little bit of an overcorrection, if that makes sense. Because at the beginning, I know a lot of Michigan State people were sort of miffed at the whole incident being 100% blamed on them. And I don't necessarily, and especially for guys like Jacoby Windman being suspended for the rest of the season, I think that was a little bit harsh. But I also think that they were a lot more culpable than Michigan. And I think the fact that Michigan now has to expand their tunnel, I think that's a little bit unfair. But
Sam, hold on a sec. This isn't a one instance off. This has happened a few times over there. And here's the one thing. I'm going to stop you with your argument right there because times have changed. Here's the difference. I didn't know my opponent when I grew up because I didn't have social media and have their Twitter and whatever like this. So I didn't care. It was more keeping to ourselves, and I guess there was more of a way to do it. Now, with the interaction and stuff like this, things can get even more personal. This is my opinion, right? Everything's opened up, so I know what this guy said or this and that. I just think because, and it's not because it's the first time, right? If this was the first time, has it happened more than once?
I didn't say it was the first time.
So you saying there wasn't a problem there, or there was?
I'm saying that it's not as big of a problem. I feel like no matter how constraining the tunnels are, no matter what, people need to know how to behave. I think that was more of the issue. Am I necessarily opposed to them making more room in the tunnel? Not necessarily, but I don't like it sort of being branded as the tunnel's fault now.
How many seats did you say that they were?
Upwards of 45. So
my God. See, that's where he's pissed.
Yeah.
Because the 108,497 or whatever they fit in there, you know, knock it down. Can't go up. But to your point, Sam, it's been done so many times without incident, and then it's just because recency, right? When did it happen? I can't go back, right? If you don't want Neil or me or anybody to go back and say that you haven't won your team and since then, but the game has changed, you're saying the game's changed off the field security-wise too. I just think that you got to get ahead of it. Do we not agree? I don't want to see any more incidences. And if they figure taking 45 seats out prevents another incident regardless of how they should act, right? You're right in how they should. But people don't do how they should. And before, I wanted to hit on this because I don't know if you know, I was making it. The joke was East Lansing lost the car into Ann Arbor, do the Michigan thing over to Eastern Michigan, Amani Bates last night, guys.
Yeah.
Even DMac saw this.
That was impressive.
Maybe because Scott Van Pelt picked it up on SportsCenter, but Amani Bates went for 43
here.
in a loss. 29 straight points, right? At one point. So, I mean, you guys are the college guys and stuff like this, obviously. What do you guys make of this? I mean, other than it's impressive, but is this something that you expected out of him, or does this propel him in the draft? Does this help him, or is this just sort of like Imani Bates doing Imani Bates stuff?
I mean, you see with that performance why Imani Bates was so hyped up coming out of high school. I mean, he was right up there with like the Paolo Bancheros and the Chet Holmgrens and the Jabari Smiths, and they all were first-round draft picks, and Imani Bates kind of flamed out of Memphis and had to go to Eastern Michigan. So I wanted him to go to Eastern Michigan and kind of be that big fish in a small pond. And I'd say so far this season, he's showed a lot of what makes him sort of a hyped-up prospect, but he's also had some struggles, and Eastern Michigan as a whole, and it's not Amani Bates' fault, but they're a really, really bad team. I think they're 4-16 now. I mean, yesterday's game certainly wasn't his fault. He played the game of his life, and I find myself happy for him because you never want to see someone with so much promise, especially kind of a hometown kid, flame out, and he did at Memphis. This is his redemption story.
You legend kill people even when you don't try. No. and this is what I mean. No, and you're factual to the fact of what you just brought up. Yeah, he did that last night in Toledo.
Yeah.
Right? The guys that are on his level that he was compared to are doing it and the night in the NBA at the top level.
Yeah.
Look at that sort of comparison to where it is. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Snow day, maybe some of you guys are going to be ordering in. I know where I'm going to order lunch from, Spenny. Yeah, DoorDash it up, baby.
Obviously, you could just DoorDash or hop right into Big Boy because Big Boy has comfort foods that are perfect for this snowy weather. You could try their classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo. What about breakfast? Their stuffed potato pancakes are back. They've got the Lumberjack, the Santa Fe Garden, and the Blockbuster. You throw some hot sauce, some ketchup on those boys, that's fire. So make sure you go to your local Big Boy today and satisfy those taste buds.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit.
But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D with spotless sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll be all competitors by $5.
$5?
$5.
$5?
$5. Only $5. Don't forget to pick up Australian Gold, Designer Skin, Caltan, and Swedish Beauty Lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters. 27 locations and more coming. It's Chili Peppers Tanning.
Chili Peppers Tan.
Bam! Love it. Here we go. Big D energy here on a hump day. It's a Wednesday. Yes, it is. Flannel Sam. Spencer Raxter.
Oh, yeah.
JB in the booth. DMac here. Anyways, we were talking a little bit, goes without saying, as the weather is going to be like this all day through the night and stuff. Please be safe out there if you have to move around. Things like that. But last night downtown, Detroit Red Wings got a big, much-needed win in this roller coaster of a season. Obviously, the one thing that it got me thinking yesterday, right, Sam, is as I was getting pissed off with people not hearing what I had to say, which is like usual, like when I'm at home, but I mean that's normal, right? But the fact is at the end of the day, right, whichever way it goes, whether you agree to pay Larkin this, that, or whatever, the fact that we're talking about it and people are getting passionate about the Red Wings again is the number one thing to me. I got to sit back and forget about good, bad, right, wrong, or indifference. I use the wrestling analogy that it doesn't matter if it's a good or it's bad. You're just looking for a reaction. People are ready.
Yes.
People are ready, whether I agree or not. And then I had to look at it, Spenny, and I said, well, I do this show every day with Flannel Sam, and I don't agree with him a lot of the times, and I like him. So it's one of these things to respect. But what the So let's take it for what it is, right? We can only do what's ahead of us when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings. Decisions are starting to need to happen, obviously, because as the trade line comes up, the beginning of March, it gets closer every day. Playing the last games up until the All-Star break, the Red Wings play tomorrow night in Montreal in a must-win, absolute must-win game to continue to be in the playoffs. Why do I say that? Because right now, the wild card teams, Pittsburgh, who had a big win last night with Chris Letang, who, side note caveat, right? Chris Letang, if you don't know, him, Evgeny Malkin, and Sidney Crosby are the longest tenured 3 teammates in NHL history, like 18 years, right?
Unbelievable. This
year, though, and Chris Letang, one of the best defensemen throughout his career, right? And I'm going back, I retired in 09 after they beat us, and we beat them in 08, and they were integral parts of this team. Anyways, Chris Letang had a serious injury earlier this year, and then he lost his dad, right? So for him to come back last night and score 2 goals, including the overtime winner, that's what it's all about. That's the nicest stuff I'm going to say about Pittsburgh, right? But they're not going anywhere. They're 8 points ahead. You have a game in hand, as is Washington, who's 8 points ahead. You have 4 games in hand. But it's a dogfight with Buffalo, Florida, and the Islanders in there. Last night, like I said, they did what they needed to do. 3-2 overtime victory. Why does that 3-point game, right, where they got the 2, San Jose, they're in the West. You don't care if they get that point or not. It does not affect you in the East. So pretty much those games like that, Sam, is like winning them in regulation.
Yeah, they needed a win last night in the worst way. And when it got to overtime and was looking a little dicey, I was thinking, because I was actually in LCA last night for the first time all season, so it was nice to see. They obviously were tied 2-2 at the end of the third, and when it went into overtime, I was nervous, I'm not going to lie, because what had happened the previous 2 home games? A loss to Philadelphia and a loss to Columbus, 2 losses that cannot happen if you're going to try to make the playoffs, and especially not last night against a bad San Jose team. But what they did in overtime is they got the puck on the Sharks side of the net, and they just cashed one in. Andrew Kopp got a goal. It never got to the point where there was any puck luck, where it was ever dicey. They just took care of business in overtime right away, and they needed those points bad. I mean, it's so funny how fickle even I can be as a Red Wings fan, because there have been so many times this year where I've been like, oh my God, they're going to the playoffs. This is the year. I mean, to at least make the playoffs. And then they lose some games that they shouldn't lose. They go on a streak. They kind of tailspin a little bit. And then like previously when they won at Vegas, I'm like, hey, maybe we got something. But then they lose to Philadelphia. Last night was one of those games where if they would have lost, I would have came in sort of wanting to burn the place down, like season's over, pack it up. But they didn't. They did what they had to do. Thank goodness. It's more relief than joy. It was a must-win game, and they had it.
Yeah, no, that was nice. And you were in the building. I think it was more of a consistent game. Spenny, what did you take away from yesterday? Because I took, one of these things, like I said, is that the home loss against Columbus was one of the biggest disappointments, just because of where you need those points. Everybody else is taking care of Columbus at the end of the at the bottom of the standings. Yeah. But for what they did yesterday, what was your takeaways? Because I'll tell you even more so what mine was, and I think I got a pretty good analogy for it.
Well, Larkin got to 400 points in his career,
yes.
So that's good. He did it at home. That is impressive. That's our captain. But the big thing, Uperism just took it out of my mouth. Rasmussen, underrated. They bumped him up to the first line with Burt being out. He obviously got the goal. You talk about, I listened to Daniella Bruce and Ken Cal break down what they're talking about with Rasmussen and how much energy he brings to different lines, and it's so true, because not only is he a big body, but when he's playing the winger, he has so much less kind of responsibilities than when he's playing center. So he goes out there, he plays hard, he's big, he uses his size, he gets after pucks, and putting him up there with 2 guys like Larkin and Raymond that already have the connection, already have the chemistry, and he just provides that energy, that hustle and size to add to that line. It was great to see. I love Rasmussen. I call him an empty net merchant, because I swear to God he scores on every empty net that the Red Wings get for some reason.
But not last night.
But I love him, and I thought he had a great great game last night, and hopefully he continues to do that if he's staying on the first line.
Absolutely. I've said this a million times to everybody. Earlier in the season, I said to Drapes, I go, is Rasmussen becoming a player before my eyes? And he said, he's on his way. Right, but I think here's the one thing. What you do too, Spenny, is the versatility, right? Because the one thing is that you mentioned it, right? To play center in this league, as much as you have to skate and have the responsibilities to be a great one, right? You're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
What you do is to keep him on the left wing. You still have him as a face-off man. He's still available to go in there, which could, in return, give Larkin more confidence and things like that. But that's the development of what you see. And you know how I know that the Detroit Red Wings and Coach Lalonde are seeing it that way is because you're getting rewarded with the ice time. I said the analogy that I would use. You know what it is, Sam? Yeah. It's like raising kids, and they're right around that. They're going through puberty right now, right? So the inconsistency of puberty, get them to focus, right? Getting this team to focus, getting this team to commit, but putting them in the right position, right? Putting them in the right position as far as look at all of us in school. I mean, I'm sure everybody didn't love every subject, but you were usually, directed in gym and recess and all that stuff. That's all our favorite category.
Yeah.
But, I was more into the English and the history than I was into the math and sciences. Other people are different, but when you don't realize that at the time, these guys are growing together, but the sort of the inconsistent, and in a good way. So they show you things, right? Because here's the one thing is that we've all said, to your point earlier, right? We have an NHL team. And how do I know? Because they can play certain ways certain nights. Now it's fighting that consistency, right? Fighting that consistency and bringing it every game, which is a tough part. And a lot of times, to your point, putting guys, defense pairings, line combinations, what worked in the past doesn't always work in the future. So I like it too, Spenny, because you got Rasmussen on the wing.
Yeah.
Who do you got in Grand Rapids with the same sort of size? Soderblom?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Because I believe that, it's learning behind guys and guys that have been there. I always say, Dino Ciccarelli and Brendan Shanahan were so integral to my development as an offensive player, but me and Marty together, right? That's where it was to learn from those guys. So it's always great. They're in the right direction. Anyways, we're gonna take a break, and yes, the lovely and talented. Yesterday's birthday girl. Hey. Yes, another trip around the sun. Daniella Bruce, DetroitRedWings.com, Game Day Live, will be joining us after a few words from the insurance, not the cheese.
Yes.
Not the cheese. It's Swiss Insurance. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Many businesses choose a January 1st effective date, and Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Give Mark an email right now at mark@swissins.com. It's Swiss Insurance. Give us a shot, and they will not disappoint.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
We are back here on a Wednesday. Snow falling in the background here in Birmingham, Michigan. Woodward Sports Network. Big D Energy, Darren McCarty. Joined by Sam Flannel. Neil is out today. You can catch him on the NBA broadcast. Detroit Pistons. He will be in Brooklyn tonight covering the Nets, which should be fun. Spenmo Racks. We got JB. He's slumming it today down from the last word, the bottom line, but always a pleasure to have him. He's dressed well. And as I look over to him, dressed all in his red and white attire, Red Wings, I could not be happier to bring in our next guest. I consider her little sister. I love everything to watch this young lady talk about the team that I love to death. Who am I talking about? You know her, you love her. Daniella Bruce, the Game Day Live, DetroitRedWings.com. What up, DB? How you doing today?
Hi, guys. How are you? I'm good. I'm at the office right now getting ready to watch some Red Wings practice. So excited to be chatting with you again. And I hear DMac's running the show today. So this could go any direction ever. I don't know if I'm prepared.
I love it. I'd be remiss, and all the fellas in here and the whole cast of Woodward says happy birthday, because yesterday, and you posted it. It's your last lap in the 20s, so I hope you enjoy it well. But it goes to show to that, because I look at as watching you grow, not only as a person, but as somebody who covers the team that I grew up loving, played for, continue to do it. They're sort of growing sort of like yourself. What did last night do for this team, or where are we at? Because the one thing that I just said is that this team, I figured it out. We're in the puberty stage. Right? And it's like 12, 13, 14 years old, trying to keep these guys focused. But they got the job done last night. Where are you at right now on this Wednesday, end of January, this 22-23 season?
Well, they definitely needed that win. That was huge. Regardless of it being on my birthday, I don't know if I brought them any luck or not, but they needed the win. I talked to Derek Alone, actually just released on the Red Wings website and YouTube, the word on Woodward, and we asked him where he thought this team was at, and he talked about the fact that they have been playing well, especially in the last 3 games, aside from last night. So let's say the last 4 games now. They've been sticking to their game, and it's been frustrating because they're not getting the results, right? And he said that goal scoring doesn't come naturally for this team, but they have to stick to that defensive style of game, and that will generate the offense for them eventually. And last night, they had just enough offense to make it happen, and that's the way that they're going to win games. We all need to get used to that, at least for this season, right? You're not going to see them lighting the lamp, 7-8 times a game, or even 5. They're going to score 2 to 3 goals a game, and they have to play strong defensively to be able to win these games. And they got those results last night, and that's exactly what they needed. They needed their confidence back, and hopefully now they head on this road trip, a tough back-to-back in Montreal and New York, and they can pick up a few more points as they head into the All-Star break, which will also get them healthier again too. So we'll look forward to the second half of the season for sure.
Yeah, Daniela, I actually agree with you that last night was a bigger win than I think people even realize. I know it was a Tuesday night against San Jose in overtime, but still, they needed that in the worst way. Is this the type of win that can kind of propel this team to maybe have a good road trip, play better hockey, and fight for a playoff spot as the season winds to its end?
I think it is. I think it definitely is. The problem that we've seen with the Red Wings is they come up with these wins that they so desperately needed. They're beating really good teams like Toronto and Vegas. The problem is the consistency. They're not stringing them together. And they all know that they have to do that, right? We heard Dylan Larkin say that before the trade deadline, you want to string some wins together, and that's just honesty from our captain. And they have to start doing that now. You're running out of time, right? So if they can win these next 2 games before the break, I think they're in a great spot, and they will still fight for a playoff spot from the second half of the season. And yes, that to answer your question simply, yes, that was a good win for them. It can propel them, but finding that consistency has been the problem. So these next 2 games are also really big games that people should be paying attention to.
Hey, Daniela, thanks for joining us. And I looked last night, I was watching your Twitter, you had the interview with Ken Kell where you're talking about the different line combinations going on, and one of them about Rasmussen being bumped up to that first line and how much energy he brings. What did you see out of him last night that helped? He obviously got the goal, but you saw him buzzing with the guys on that first line. How much does that mean for the team?
Michael Rasmussen was excellent last night, and he did start the game on the top line, but after the first period, I believe it was, he switched back to the second line and played with Andrew Kopp and David Perron, which is an excellent line in itself. Those 3 play really well together, but you can describe Michael Rasmussen as the motor for every line that he's on. He has really, really come into his own, using his size, winning battles. That overtime goal that Andrew Kopp scored happened because Michael Rasmussen won a battle. Andrew Kopp actually lost the faceoff. So Michael Rasmussen gets in there, wins that battle, and Andrew Kopp is able to put one home, an easy one home, and give the Red Wings the win. And obviously he scored last night, which is great for him. You know, I always go back to last year, and I said I really liked Michael Rasmussen at about this point in the season, and everybody thought I was crazy. But look at the steps he's taken in his game, really learning how to play with his size. And Derek alone said they might use him as a center again because injuries happen, right? But they really like the way that he's playing on the wing, and he's able to drive his lines. And that Andrew Kopp, David Perron, Michael Rasmussen combination last night was excellent.
No, I agree. Daniella Bruce, obviously Detroit RedWings.com. Wings on Woodward. Check that thing out. Is that, Art Ragnar still working there with you?
Yeah, somehow.
Oh, gosh darn. I'm working on it, D. I'm working on it. Uncle Art. Anyways, you can catch Daniella. But you mentioned the captain. You mentioned Dylan Larkin. It was great to see last night his 400th point. Obviously, the point of contention is his contract, along with Tyler Bertuzzi, which you don't hear a lot about. Now, everybody's all up in arms. What's the vibe down there? Like, at the end of the day, like I said, is that, okay, everybody's hearing this and that and this. Where did you hear it from? And then somebody could say, well, Dylan's agent leaked it or what. But at the end of the day, can you just tell people how Steve Yzerman works and how it works down at Little Caesars Arena right there as far as this? And I guess my question is, are you worried at all that first of all, Dylan Larkin's contract won't get done and there'll be something that maybe reality might be moving on from him?
I mean, look, Steve Yzerman, number one, I wish I had more insight to give you on what he's thinking and what he's planning on doing with both Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi's contract, but I don't. But I can tell you this. The vibes have been great from Dylan, from Tyler. Everybody is really excited about this team and the direction that they're headed in. They're here to play hockey, right? That's Steve deals with their agents. They're going to get a deal done, in my opinion. I think we're going to see them in Red Wings uniforms. So I think they're just working out some kinks. They're going to come to an agreement. But again, I don't have any inside information on that. I just think both of the players, the way that I interact with them, the players being Dylan and Tyler, they both are here to make an impact on this team. They want to be in Detroit. They love Detroit. And they're focused on winning hockey games. And Dylan Larkin has said that quite a few times. He's focused on getting better as a player, and he's focused on winning hockey games for this team. So right now, that's what those two are focusing on. And the behind-the-scenes stuff will all play out. There's no use in worrying about it, everybody. That's what I would say. It's going to play out the way it's going to play out, and we'll find out when it's done.
And at the end of the day, #Wiser playing 1919. That's where it stands. One of the things is what was interesting to me being around and having a conversation is that Steve Yzerman had said when I do the season ticket events, and he said to Spencer, is that last year at this point, and I would say the beginning of January, we were in the same sort of positions. Records were in the same, but the team was different. Steve said, we were lucky. We were not as good last year as what our record said. And in this year, he's saying we're not as bad as what our record says. We're better than that because, health reasons, different things like that, consistency. Do you, Daniella Bruce, who follows this team more than anybody, think that this Red Wings team that are 8 points out of the playoff with some games in hand right now have the ability and the team to put a run together and to still make the playoffs?
Look, I believe in this team, and I think that we are seeing some progression, right? That's exactly what we want. If you remember last season, just after the All-Star break, things started to unravel for the Red Wings, and I think that will be a big test to where this team is at. We get back from the All-Star break, and what happens? Where does this team go? We're going to have to see if they're able to string together the wins like we're talking about, and they're able to play a little bit more consistently. Am I going to sit here and say they're definitely going to make the playoffs? No. Do I think they could do it? Absolutely. But they have a really, really tough conference, not just their division. The East is really tough. And I mean, you look at the teams like Boston, you look at Toronto, you look at Tampa, even Florida in that mix. You've got Pittsburgh, you've got New York. That's a tough conference to be in, and that's some tough competition to beat out or even wild card spots. So you want to see progression. Like I said, last year we saw things kind of unravel and go downhill. And I think that's going to be the test for us. We don't want to see that at the end of the year. We want them to be playing in interesting games, making things interesting for us at the end of the season. Whether they're in it or not, we want them to be playing good hockey, quality hockey at a consistent level. So I wouldn't say the playoffs should be your only goal as the Red Wings. It should be improvement, it should be consistency, and winning some hockey games down the stretch.
Now, Sam's got a question. I was watching on the video and then I got sidetracked.
Oh, you're good.
Sam's got a question, but I want him to preface it with, I was in the building last night.
I was.
I know you were, and I wasn't. What do you think? We can't be in the same building at the same time. But please preface that so you know you had eyes on it.
Yes, I was in the building last night. All right, so the player that I was actually most impressed with was Ville Husso. I think that he kind of kept the Red Wings in the game and sort of allowed them to win it in the end. And I think he's the type of guy that can maybe help them not death spiral at the end of this year, kind of like they did last year. How important is Ville Husso to this team and to this team moving forward?
He might be the most important player. I agree with you. He's been super impressive, and he's had a couple slip-ups. Let's be honest, Ville Husso, remember, has never been a number one goaltender. He's already surpassed the number of starts he had in St. Louis last year. So he's learning how to be a number one goaltender and take on that workload. And when the Red Wings play well in front of him defensively, he comes up with big saves. Like I said, he's had a few games where he's slipped up, but in the last 3, he's only given up 2 goals. So if you've got a goalie that's only allowing 2 goals a game, your team's playing well defensively in front of him, he's going to be a key factor, and he's going to put you in the position to win some games just like he did last night. But I totally agree with you. He was my MVP a quarter of the way through the season. He might still be my MVP halfway through the season. They need him, and they will tell you themselves their goaltending has been sporadic. But when Ville gets going and he's on a roll, then the team's on a roll. So I don't think that's it at all.
Hey, D, can you just stay for another segment? I want to ask you a couple more questions.
I can do
you
that.
You have time?
Yes.
Awesome. We're going to pay the bills. Tell everybody hey, you know what? Where are you going to work out around here? I mean, does anybody know?
I certainly know. It would be at Planet Fitness, of course, because Planet Fitness is home of the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports, also home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out for just $10 a month or upgrade to the Black Card for unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and more. Join in club today or go to planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness where Darren McCarty.
Well, your fitness is essential.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports.
Either way, the heavyweights are here.
Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Big D Energy on a Wednesday. DMac, Sam, Flannel, Spencer, Raxer, JB. We're joined by the Wings on Woodward, DetroitRedWings.com. Game Day Live, you name it, you know it. The person, and Paul in our chat said that Daniella's the Mina Kimes of hockey in this town, and is that good with you?
That's a huge compliment. I will take that any day. Mina Kimes is fantastic. So anytime I'm in the same sentence as her, that's excellent.
Well, Paul Thomas said that, and I think we all agree through the chat thread here. Everybody's obviously stoked as much as I've got to know you. What's that?
You know Andrew Kristoff, right? Our social guy.
Oh, of course. What did he do?
He stopped to tie his shoe right.
What up, Andrew? There it is. Absolutely, Andrew with the camera guy. Always gets some great shot. I love it. Anyways, Thanks for joining us here, the extra time, Daniella. Before I ask you a couple questions about how you got to where you got, Spencer has another question for you.
Yeah, I do. It's we talked about like surprising things and line changes this year, and I think one of the biggest stories of the year has been Jake Wallman and what he's been able to do on that back end. Obviously going up there with Mo Sider in the first pairing and just playing fantastically in all different aspects, offensively from his spot and defensively, obviously. What has his growth meant to this team? Because he was kind of an afterthought in that deal when they traded, Letty and Witt for Sonny, and they're like, okay, yeah, Wallman's in there too, and now he's a big part of this team's future.
Yeah, well, he wasn't healthy when we acquired him, so him getting healthy was a main factor in that. But obviously, you like what you see in his game, right? You mentioned the offense that he provides, but he's also great defensively. He's made a couple of fantastic plays. He's played alongside a few different defensemen, and anytime you're alongside Mo Sider, I think that's going to elevate your game as well. And the two of them really enjoy playing together. They both have an offensive mind, but they're both really good defensively, so they complement each other well. They know when one's going to go, the other has to stay, and vice versa. So I think you're just seeing his development as a defenseman through the different partners. And again, Mo Sider, he plays at a super high level regardless of his age. So anyone that is playing with him is going to take steps in their game. And we're seeing that from Jake Wallman.
So, Danielle, I wanted to take some time here for the listeners and the audience is how does, and, since we're Big D Energy, I'm Darren, it's Big D, you're Daniela, you're Little D. There you go, exactly like this. But give everybody a little bit of a backstory of not how you got there, but how you grew up and your love, because what I'm always trying to accentuate is the fact is when we talk to all the younger kids out there and the girls that you can be whatever you want, you got to work for it. When did you know that what you're doing right now was what you wanted to be?
It might sound super cliche, but I've sort of always known. From age 13, I decided that I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I've always been a huge sports fan, all Detroit sports and everything about them. The 04 Pistons were one of my favorite teams. I've always been a huge Lions fan. The Red Wings, obviously, their Stanley Cup runs. It was always so exciting for me to follow sports. And when I actually had to sit and think about it, it's like, what is something that I could do every day? And sports was always right there. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be involved in. And I just got super lucky, to be honest with you. I interviewed for a job with the Red Wings and I was lucky enough to get it. And sometimes it does take a little luck. Obviously, I went to school for it. I've perfected my craft. I worked really, really hard, but sometimes it does take a little luck and timing. And I was blessed with that to get the opportunity with the Red Wings for sure. So it's been unreal to work for your hometown team. It's something that I could only have dreamed of. I will tell the story too. 8th grade broadcasting class. I know everybody in middle school probably had their broadcast that went out at some point throughout the day. And I started doing that in my teacher. And I still know her, Miss Pomperito. Shout out to Miss Pomperito. She told me, you have a great broadcasting voice. And I was like, do I really? Because my voice was something I always got made fun of for when I was a kid because it's deeper. And I was like, I'm going to use this. And I'm going to look at everyone who made fun of me and kind of, flip them off or something and say, see, this is what that was for. Yeah. So I was inspired by that. I was inspired by my love for sports and I had a knack for being in front of the camera. So I went for it. And I think I'm proof that if you put your mind to something and you go for what you really want, it can happen.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great story. I love kind of hearing about how people sort of come up in the business, and you obviously do a great job with the Red Wings. So it was great to kind of hear your story and how you got your start. That's awesome. So, quick question, and I'm going to kind of take this to a little bit to negative town. I hate to do that, but sometimes I do.
That's what he does.
Oh, you don't hate to do it, so don't say that you're not. You're the legend killer for a reason. Daniela, you're a legend, so here it comes. Go ahead.
Not going to kill you, Daniela, but there is one player who I have been slightly disappointed with, and that's Mo Sider. I'm not panicking. I'm not saying that he's had like a terrible year or anything like that, but he's coming off of, I called it like a rookie of the year, and he was obviously deserving of that. I thought he would take more of a step. From the outside, I think he's been slightly disappointing, but I'm open to being wrong. Tell me I'm wrong or tell me I'm not crazy.
I think you're wrong. Disappointed is a bad word. I think you could say that maybe his offensive numbers aren't there the way you would have expected them to be this year, but he is picking up. I actually wrote this down because I had a feeling we were going to have to talk about Mo Sider. He has 9 points in the month of January. And just remember how young he is, 20 years old, 21 years old. He's our number one defenseman right now, and he's trying to learn how to run the defense. He runs our power play. He plays so many minutes every game. And like I said, I can understand where you see, he's going to take a step back in these games. But I think he's just learning the NHL, and there's going to be that learning curve. But I think you saw the same thing with Lucas Raymond. He's starting to come on now, too. And we use the term sophomore slump, which I kind of hate because I don't really think it's a slump. I think players learn how you play around the league, and they're starting to see what your weaknesses are, and they're going to try to expose them. That's the league, right? That's how you win hockey games. But I think Mo is adjusting really well, and I think that his month of January has been super impressive, and his strides are only going to be forward from here. So I don't hate your take. I don't like the word disappointed because we should not be disappointed where Mo is right now. Could he be better? Probably. Will he be better? Definitely. So disappointed is the wrong word, but I understand what you're saying.
Fair enough.
How to that point, right? Looking at just statistically, right? Where I was writing down stats are for flannels. You can't see it. It's sad. It says stats are for flannels. But the fact that you talk about it like where just the top of your head, what was his ice time last year compared to this year? He's playing probably what, 6 more minutes a game? 4? His minutes are up, and then what you saw to Sam's point. What is the difference between watching a Mo Seider play with a Ben Sherratt and then have Bob Bugner on the defense and then figure out that he needs a guy like Jake Wallman? To Spenny's point, there's a lot to being that duo, right? You mentioned about Seider makes other people better, and I'm not comparing Seider to Nick Lidstrom, but he did play with Matt Dandino and made a right winger a heck of a D-man. Right? You know what I'm saying? So what is it like the responsibility and the leadership but it has to be too, the change to Wallman as his D partner is a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and those changes are going to affect players, right? When you ask them, they're going to say, we can adjust and we can play with everybody. But there is a learning curve to playing with different players. And this is no knock on Ben Sherratt because I think he's the type of defenseman the Red Wings really needed, a stay-at-home, tough, gritty defenseman. But maybe that's not the right pairing for Mo Seider. And like you said, they switch it to Jake Wallman, and you're starting to see his offense, both of their offenses really come to light. And that looks like that might be the pairing moving forward for the rest of the season. And I think it's a smart move. And I think we've seen Mo kind of excel in his game, gain that confidence again. And that's one thing I want to mention too. When you watch Mo play, you were here last night, right? You watch him play. He's so confident on the puck. And yes, he makes mistakes. Again, he's 21 years old. He's going to make mistakes. There's a learning curve. But he's so confident in his moves. He has great vision. He skates really well. It's such a bright future for him that even though his offensive numbers aren't exactly where they were last season, that doesn't scare me at all. And Darren brought it up. His ice time has been up. And he played a lot of ice time last year as a rookie. He was on the ice a ton, and now he's on the ice even more. So he's adjusting, and I'm sure it will be great for the second half of the season because we already have seen a major leap from December to January.
And he blew up Carlson at center ice, which is
it was a great hit.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great. Before I let you go, D, obviously people know you for the Red Wings and stuff, but you do the Tigers stuff. You do Oakland Grizzlies basketball. One of the things I'm most proud, and I want you to just talk about a little bit, is last year is you got to do the play-by-play with Ken Cal, color for the Wings on the radio and stuff like that. What did that mean to you? Talk a little bit about that, because as the little girl and wanting to be there broadcasting and stuff like this, to finally do that for the first time for this organization in the 100-year history. So that's pretty big.
It was awesome. And number one, I want to say that Ken Cal and Paul Woods are an iconic duo. They're legendary here in Detroit. So the two of them are awesome at what they do. And I think the really part for me, there you go, that was pretty good, that when the situation came about, right? Paul was out with COVID, which unfortunately everybody had that bout at some point throughout the last 2 years and 3 years even. And Ken thought of me, and that is something that will forever mean everything to me. Ken said, I think Daniella should fill in for Paul, and he was really the person that got all of that going. And I was so excited when I found out that it was actually him that said, I want her in the booth with me. So to have a legend like Ken Cal trust me to fill in that role is something that I'll never forget. And obviously the experience was amazing. I got to call a West Coast road trip from Little Caesars Arena, which was an experience all on its own. And then I also got to call a game alongside Woods and got COVID later in the season. So I went to Ottawa and all the play-by-play, and I did the color, but it was actually kind of like two color commentators doing the game, and I think it turned out pretty good. It was very entertaining.
No, I love it. Thought you did a great job. You always do. Appreciate you coming on, giving us some insight. Enjoy. You doing anything for the All-Star? Do you get to take the All-Star if the team leaves? Do you get a couple days off?
I am headed down on a vacation next week. I am off all week. So, yes, I get to take a break as well. Good for you. You deserve it. I'll see you after the break downtown. But thanks for joining us, Daniella Bruce. You can follow her at Daniella 2Ls Bruce _, on Twitter. Have a great day, DB. Thank you. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Awesome.
She's the best.
She is the best. You're gonna and to the point, you will see her nationally with everything going on. And how can you not? How can you not? And she covers every other sport. That's the whole thing. Does the Oakland Grizzlies basketball, the sideline reporter. So all you little D's out there, know that it's if you want to do it when you're younger, we figure out the way. Like she said, put the hard work in. And because uptime. It matters. It matters to her, and it matters to Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. You got a bog project coming up, Alta Rent. They got you covered. Call them today, 844. Go to Alta. That's 844. Go to Alta.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
The Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Multiple different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play and private lane reservation for $120. If you get thirsty, they got a $2 mystery beer vending machine and multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So make sure you go check them out in Hamtramck or visit them online at foalingwarehouse.com.
All right, the Monroe Street Minute. The Midway has swapped roller skating, basketball, and mini golf for a giant Arctic slide, winter bumper cars, an indoor arcade, and puck putt.
Puck putt?
I'm sure you're pretty good at that.
Hey, heavyweights going down the slide?
We'll try and make it happen.
Let's make it happen. You might
Please
see
make
it
that
anyways.
happen. With free entry into the site, enjoy a variety of new activities aimed at creating exceptional winter experiences for everyone. Get to the Midway this winter to enjoy Santa sightings, well, that's already passed, and tasty treats, and make magical memories during the most wonderful time of the year. Coming soon, the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics. You'll be able to compete against Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Adam Baydoun, Ryan Ermanni, the heavyweights, and the Woodward Sports family in Monroe Street Midway Games. Check out deckedoutdetroit.com for more information, and we'll see you at the Midway.
You gotta love it, Big D energy here on a Wednesday. DMac, Flannel, Sam, Spendmo, Racks. We got JB. He got set down from the big show to work the ones and twos, but he's all dressed. He knows what it is. It's like me reporting for Grand Rapids. We got a job to do here for these little guys. So I appreciate it. And you know what I love? We're talking hockey and stuff like this. Joey 2 times and Brandon Katz going at it, and Chuck Brewer's got to step in and say, bro, Joey, you're arguing with the guy about hockey down south, right? Like stuff like this. I love the passion. Everybody's ready. That's why it's Wednesday, and I'm going to give you a little 5 for fighting.
Let's do it.
Today's 5 for fighting is a little bit different. I'm going to start out because I'm going to end it with, I call it the mirror, right? Who are you trying to be? What are you trying to accomplish? But until then, we have to get there. So, my first question around the room. Who has superseded your expectations into the first half of the season?
I would probably go with, this is tough because I don't know if anybody really has superseded my expectations. I guess I would go with Dominik Kubalik because I expected him to just kind of be like he wasn't the free agent that I was most excited about, but at least for the first part of the season, he was a bit of a revelation. He's fallen back a little bit, but I'd say overall he has been a success for the team, and he's been one of their best scorers. In a season where it's been a lost season for Tyler Bertuzzi and Jacob Vrana, Dominik Kubalik has been very, very valuable. So I would still, even though he's fallen off a bit, have to go with him.
No, and absolutely, because but you looked at his salary at 2.5, and it couldn't be good, right? And the fact that that's what Steve Yzerman did. Now there is some leveling out and stuff like this, but yeah, he's definitely. I think I can't kill you on that one. What were you, Spenny?
For me, we talked about one of them already, which is Jake Wallman, obviously stepping up to that first pairing with Mo Sider. He's been playing fantastic. He brought the juice offensively from the blue line, and also he's been throwing his body around, making around a lot of great defensive plays. And the other one, Johnny Burgers, my guy Bergeron, man, he's been playing very well as well, being a good punch on those lower lines, scoring, doing things well. You see the excitement and the energy when he gets on the ice. So I'm going to go Wallman and Johnny Burgers.
Those are great, and obviously you see the development. You see what he did last year in Grand Rapids and understanding the game. I think Daniella brought up a great point about Wallman.
Yeah,
right. He was hurt.
Yeah,
we're just seeing him become healthy. To some of the things that we've seen. Obviously we got a glimpse of when Fabry came, but Fabry was healthy. Now we're seeing him back and effective guys. In the lineup. What about you, JB? You got anybody that you've been more than impressed with?
Well, since I don't get to tap into hockey all that much and watch the Wings a lot, I'm going to take a different approach to this. I'm going to go towards the Pistons on this one. My guy, Jalen Darren, a rookie right now, 19 years old, 13th overall pick. Super impressed with this guy. He's young, he's athletic. He is giving the Pistons hope right now, at least to what could be next season once they get all the pieces back. And quite frankly, maybe Wembanyama. Who knows? But definitely impressed.
To that point, is that not Mo Sider last year?
Yeah.
Right? With Jalen Darren and Mo Sider as far as the future, what you can build around what you have. I think that's a great analogy, and it's something that, you sort of expect guys that are higher, but the development with the age and the youth. So I think those are great. For me, Daniel, Spenny, you nailed it and stuff like this, and it was more of not the expectation, but hoping that he could make that step. And I think we're seeing it, and it's going to be a gradual. It's not going to be jump, jump, jump. You're going to see it like this, and that's Michael Rasmussen.
Mm-hmm.
So with him is the expectation, because I expected him to do this. I was hoping him to do this, because if he did this as that first rounder, it takes time sort of develop. All right, on the flip side of the coin. Who's the guy that on the team that are you, I wouldn't say done with, but something that is there a guy on the Red Wings team that didn't meet your expectations, or something that you don't think he has a chance to meet your expectations or help the team moving forward?
I would have to go with, and I'm not going to say Tyler Bertuzzi because he's been hurt. I would probably have to say, honestly, Andrew Kopp. Despite having a game-winning goal last night that was very big for him, I thought he would give the Red Wings a little bit more. I think this is a year where they have had injury issues with two of their best players, and Andrew Kopp was kind of a guy that I thought would step up a little bit more. I'm hoping that he can provide something in the second half of the season, but he's coming off of probably the best season of his career, and this year he's just been kind of mid, kind of there for the most part. So for me, as far as people who have played, I'd go Andrew Kopp.
Ben?
I'm going to go with Neil's boy, Philip Zadina. I mean, you expected him to take a little bit of step back with the additions of guys, but he hasn't even been able to carve out ice time for himself, which is somewhat disappointing to me. You expected him to at least be maybe in that third line. He is kind of a top-line guy, is what he was born to be, what he's bred to be, but he can't do that with the amount of talent the Red Wings influxed in their team this year, and he just hasn't rolled with the punches as well as I'd hope he'd be and provided something at least. So I'm going to go with Zadina.
Well, and you know what? Here's the one thing, too, though, is I don't know because of being injured and stuff like this if it's done. Yeah. It's the same thing like the Zadina we were talking about. When Verona came over, it would help Zadina and all this, but they're both in limbo right now.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like this. And I think that to the point is that listening to Daniella and looking at the bigger picture is that you mentioned the guys that they're working with, the guys that are developing what you have down in the minors and Soderblom and Edvidson.
Oh,
you know, we haven't brought up Edvidson and stuff like this, but there's guys there, there's youth there. You know, to me, honestly, it's the goaltending in whole. Mm-hmm. And I know Husso stood on his head at different times, but it's that consistency, and I don't know if it's more of bearing the load. The one thing that these young guys, and I heard it in an interview from Berggren last night about, you know, playing in Sweden and all this stuff, used to 50 games, not 80-some. So it's getting used to the schedule, but the goaltending has to be more consistent, and I'm not blaming that specifically on Husso. It's the pair of them, the tandem of them. Now, here's the one thing where I said about the mirror, right? As we're looking in to see what Steve Yzerman's going to do with this team, I'm just going to give you the analogy of the missing pieces and going back to the last few Stanley Cup winners, right? Because it's what has happened lately, right? So I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning, how they're constructed, right? Which Steve Yzerman constructed them. Can we agree with that?
He did.
Right? Had a piece in doing that, right? And then the Colorado Avalanche, who won the Stanley Cup, Joe Sakic, putting those things in place. What do these teams have in common?
Well, I mean, they've got an all-world defenseman. They've got a goaltender. They've got, well, I don't know about Colorado, but they've got a star. I mean, Nathan McKinnon, Nikita Kucherov, Steve Stamkos.
There's 3-point play, and you know what? The caveat is Tampa in the goaltending, but it's not the goaltending.
Right.
It's changed. It's your start. When I played, you needed the two centerman guys, and if you had a defenseman, but the game had changed and stuff like this, the game was different. Now you need that defenseman. What does Tampa have? They have Hedman.
Yep.
What does Colorado have?
Makar.
They have Makar. What does Detroit have?
Sider.
Okay, if he's going to be, because we're plugging in who mixes there. Yep. Now it's development, and it's a couple years, and it's finding that out. Let's go to B, right? You need that leader. What does Tampa have?
Stamkos.
What does Colorado have?
Got what?
This is as their leader, their captain. This is where you miss, and this is where the Larkin comparable comes into Gabriel Landeskog. Gabriel Landeskog is the glue in that dressing room. Gabriel Landeskog signed 8-year, $7 million, like $56 million contract, right? That's what he's on the books for, right? There's their second guy. What do we have? Larkin. So it's Stamkos, Landeskog, Larkin, right? So we got the Sider, we got the Larkin if you're building it.
Yeah.
What do these other teams have that we don't?
Got a star.
Tampa's got the Kucherov.
Yep.
Colorado's got the McKinnon. What do we got?
To be
Not
determined.
there yet, right? So what I'm saying is that when you look around to what these guys, and what was the big thing too? So you have to go revisionist history. I was in Tampa Bay, living in Tampa Bay, when Steven Stamkos' contract came about, and it's pretty much the same situation of what we're going through right now with Dylan Larkin as far as Steve Yzerman holding till the end, eventually figuring out that they got something done, and Steven Stamkos, boom, signs, right? They win cups and move on from that. What I'm saying is that Steve Yzerman has been in this situation before. Steve Yzerman knows what his plan is. Steve Yzerman is aware of what I just brought you. Right, so the two questions is Larkin like I think he is that guy in the puzzle? And then if you're sitting in Neil's seat, I look over and go, when's all that money there, bro?
Yeah.
So next year, whatever, you're putting it together so that you can go and pay, right? You have to understand, guys, it doesn't matter what Larkin, if he makes the $8 million or the $9.5 million, that million, and it's negotiable in there. It's so who's your top guy you're going to go after? Who's that $11-12 million guy? Who's the big dog guy? Now, there's money to be squeezed there, but if you look at your McCarrs, all three of those guys, what do they total up to? What do they total up to? What do they total up to? Now, here's the caveat with it, right? Where Tampa Bay was able to figure out their window because they also had the goalie.
Yeah.
2, right? So they actually got 4. They're actually super special.
Yes.
Right? Which I think is what Stevie's trying to do here, the special, super special caveat. But my question is either Larkin your guy to fit that scenario? What do you care, whatever he makes? Because Stevie knows that money needs to be saved. So it's between $8 and $9.5 million.
I mean, as long as keeping Larkin for being the second line center doesn't hurt their ability to go get a number 1, I'm okay with it. I think Dylan Larkin would be a fantastic number 2 center if the Red Wings could make it work, just for everything that he's already done, for his leadership qualities. He's a captain. He's been basically a point-a-game guy for about 3 seasons now. Exactly what you'd want from a number 2. I would hate to see him go anywhere. And I kind of said on Monday that there's at a certain price, I'm not sure if I would want him, but as a number 2, abso-freaking-lutely. Just not as a number 1, and we all agree with that. Dylan Larkin is super valuable.
Well, here's the thing, guys. If you want to be a Stanley Cup contending team, Dylan Larkin is your 2C.
Of course.
And it's okay because the same thing happened with Steve Yzerman. People, I guess they did take for granted that, if this doesn't work. This is nurturing stuff. Revisionist history. Go ask your parents, your uncles. Steve Yzerman, 14 years. 14 years. You know, and figuring things out. So to me, it's the guy who knows it the best, has the grasp of it the best, and whatever works out. I just wanted to give some levity, right? So does that make sense? Because to that argument wise, do you trust the guy who's got the money that's going to spend the money wiser? And to the point isn't at the end. Right, because Colorado's at the end of their extension of their run and stuff like this. That they put it in. So we only hope that we're there and be more like Tampa back to back. So the names don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's just, are these your guys or not? And it seems to be like the big 3, but the three's changed.
Yeah, and if the Red Wings never end up punching it in, I might need somebody to talk to, and
I sure will.
Luckily we have the place for you, and that is SMA, or the Sports Marketing Agency. The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. So if you or someone you know is struggling, make sure you head to thesportsma.com to get the help you deserve.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups.
Detroit fans were there.
4 World Series wins.
Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are. Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab drinks at the Lodge before or after games. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with deckedoutdetroit.com.
Welcome back, Big D Energy here on a Wednesday. DMac, Flannel Sam, Spenmo Rax, JB, helping us out here in the sound booth, stuff like this. Thank you to Daniella Bruce for joining us. Thank you for entertaining on the hockey segment here on Wednesday. I hope that puts you to wherever else. No one ever compared Larkin to Steve Yzerman and Brandon Katz. Brandon Katz said that you can't build a team around Larkin. That's what Brandon says, and we'll see if Steve Yzerman agrees or not. Right? Yeah. So I'm going to go with Stevie right now until Stevie tells me. And technically, Brandon could be right.
He could be.
He could be right. I don't think he is. I think he's more off than you are on some of your takes. But let's go where you're really good at some of your takes, buddy. That's the football. Let's go. Here in Detroit, what does it matter? Because our guys, right? Your guy and your guy. Specifically, your guy, Aiden Hutchinson, and your guy, Malcolm Rodriguez, named a Pro Football Writers All-Rookie Team. Let's give a round of applause. As you can see up on the list, it goes to the defensive line, Jordan Davis, Aiden Hutchinson, George Kozlaftis, I butchered that one, Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Lloyd, Malcolm Rodriguez, Quay Walker, Sauce Gardner, Tariq Woolen, Kyle Hamilton, and Jalen Petrie. Anybody not on that list that you guys thought should be, or did they pretty much get that right?
I'll tell you what. I'm not so sure that James Houston shouldn't be on that list. And I know that he didn't have a big sample size. He only played in 7 games, but he was second in amongst all rookies in sacks with 8. And he did that in 7 games. On a per-game basis, he was all-pro.
Well, I bet you this is where they caveat it with this many snaps.
I get it. I mean,
but no, I agree with you. If you're going to argue about this season and what you said about guys, if you ran the tape back, like you think about it, if you're teaching somebody football 100 years from now, right? Are you going to show him that rookie when you're talking about rookies in the highlight tape? Even because I look at it as, oh, you're watching tape. Oh, this one doesn't count. Why doesn't that count? Because he only played 6 times, right? So it had to be more of a rule. Would you see it's? So I don't look at it as a snub. I look at it as not just saying who are the best guys. Maybe honorable mention should have been in there, but honorable do you think look at it as a snub, Spenny?
I do, honestly. I don't know if there is a game limit of what you have to play or a snap count limit or something like that. But even so, even with his limited snaps and limited games played, he was one of the most productive rookies all year. So I think he deserves it over a George Karlaftis. I could see Kayvon Thibodeau being in there because he did come on late in the end of the year, but I do think James Houston should have got his credit. He deserved to be on there.
No.
What about Kirby Joseph over Kyle Hamilton? I would probably put Kirby Joseph over Kyle Hamilton. I understand that I wouldn't put him over Jalen Petrie. Jalen Petrie was probably the most slept-on rookie all season. He should probably honestly get some consideration for Defensive Rookie of the Year. But what Kirby Joseph did, forcing 6 turnovers, I think that's – and I know he's another one that maybe – kind of came on late, sort of struggled in the beginning, but what Kirby Joseph changed games with his plays. He changed both of the Packers games. If he doesn't play in those games, I think the Packers probably win, and the Detroit Lions don't have a winning season. So to me, Kirby Joseph, just in terms of splash plays and impact, I'd put him on the all-rookie team safety for sure.
Yeah, I think you have an argument there, and a lot of times it comes down to where was Kyle Hamilton drafted, the expectations, stuff like this. You know, the biggest misnomer is not making the playoffs, right? I think that if you make the playoffs on both these guys, then you're arguing. You're saying, hey, why'd you snub them? It's one of those things that I guess those people can use as sort of a shield when it comes down to not fitting their narrative. But I think you're absolutely right that hopefully at least there's a reason why they're not on the list. They were in consideration. Their names came up, and then for whatever reason that somebody argued beyond, you know what I'm saying? Because stats, I'm biased, but the fact that you picked up Aaron Rodgers 3 times in the same season. You only got, like, Urlacher got him over his career. I mean, that's crazy stuff, man.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's the quarterback that doesn't throw interceptions. I know he sort of deviated from it this year, but if you'd have told me before the season that Kirby Joseph would intercept Aaron Rodgers 3 times, I would have thought you were on drugs, but it actually happened. So to me, that's when you're a defensive back, I know it's not all about interceptions and turnovers, but it is a little bit about interceptions and turnovers if you can create them. And Kirby Joseph did, and Kyle Hamilton did not really. I'm not saying Kyle Hamilton was bad. I think that the Ravens are happy with him, but I would
different defense. You watch them play.
Yeah.
They use him down in the box so much, rushing off the edges, stuff like that. He's really not the coverage guy, right? Like, so it goes to pick your poison. But the big thing out of all this, the fact that you got 2 guys on there. You got 2 guys that you could argue that got snubbed.
Yeah.
Right? Does this not bigger picture get you more excited for what's coming up with 5 picks in the first 80-something with Brad Holmes? Is this not solidified, Neil? To me, when I see stuff like this, it's just stamp of approval to no Brad Holmes discourse, right? Like, if he's drafting guys that are going to be, there's 4 guys.
That's unbelievable.
4 guys that are in that legitimately could be on this team.
I mean, we could be talking about this team because of the 4 guys that they drafted and how well that they performed as a defense that is pretty good next year. It was actually a pretty good defense in the last 10 games of the season, and a lot of that has to do with these rookies. And I mean, we haven't even mentioned like the guys who actually made it. Aiden Hutchinson. To me, you can argue Sauce Gardner. I think if I would put Aiden Hutchinson as the defensive rookie of the year. 9.5 sacks, 3 interceptions. That's just a phenomenal season. And Malcolm Rodriguez, a 6th-round draft pick. The heavyweight's his favorite.
Shut up.
5th amongst all rookies in tackles and was an all-rookie performer as a 6th-round pick. I mean, what Brad Holmes did defensively with this draft, I would give it A++++. And,
absolutely, which it also, too, that's a couple back-to-back where you're getting players. So it's like selected players, and there's trust in that. To me, the defensive rookie of the year, where you're talking to Sauce Gardner and you're talking about Hutchinson, it's like a horse race where Sauce Gardner is the front runner, boom, out leading the pack. Did anybody close harder than Aiden Hutchinson in the last half of the season, though? Nope. Did anybody adjust to the NFL, right? Like, we seriously, there's a balance in pro, right? Like, in your first few years or whatever, learning everything about it, not only playing the game on the field or on the ice, but everything that goes around it. Usually they say in your first few years, if we're going to use the analogy, and I use it to Bergeron, is, oh, we've only played 50 games, now you got to play 80. Well, you're going to be tired. That wasn't the case. No. These guys got better. Yeah. So this goes back to the everything going on in Allen Park, everything going on to Hard Knocks, everything going up, because this is the result of it. They're showing stats at the end, and not just stats by somebody around here giving it to them. This is like nationally how it's looked out for. And the bigger thing is that you got 2 guys that won, that are on it, but you got 2 other guys that could have been there. So to me, 4 could have been deserved. 4 guys that were finalists and 2 that made it.
Yep, and coming into the season, at the beginning of the season, the defense was, I mean, it was terrible. It took the development of some of these rookies, along with other factors, to get this to where it was a good defense. And to me, I think it can kind of expedite the rebuild, expedite the sort of having a good defense next year, so that this is a team that can make the playoffs and win the division. I think that the defensive improvement, mainly with the rookies, is why the Lions really improved and took that step, because their offense was always there. They needed these guys to step up, and boy, I mean, did they ever. They all, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson was basically exactly what you drafted him to be. Definitely the best pass edge rusher in the draft. And then you got other guys who have played, like 2 6th-round picks were amazing. A 3rd-round pick was that ball hawk safety that the Lions needed. And because of those guys, and not just those guys, but a lot because of those guys, this is a team that is on the rise. And to speak to sort of the next draft classes, how many hits is he going to get in this one? They also have a very sort of advantageous draft. Man, From where we are now.
But isn't this what you want? Because now he can be specific.
Yes.
Because you've plugged holes, and now you got to be specific. And I will agree with Brandon saying that he's got to draft, the defense, and we'll see what he does. But the thing is about these guys that make these guys the best is they're consistent in decisions time and time again. It's more of their military spectrum, which means it's the way they operate over and over again, and there's no relaying from it. It's the same thing when I see this. It's the same thing that I see from Steve Yzerman. Right, the same thing that we're talking about when JB brought up Jalen Duren earlier into Troy Weaver, and now Scott Harris too. So it's the guys that are in charge. That's the best part. But congratulations to your guy Hutch, to your guy Rodrigo, to all of our guys, and to the best, because it just goes to show you, and everybody knows it's coming.
Yep.
Right, everybody knows it's coming, not just here, but nationally. But here, hey. Come to Lady Jane's for award-winning haircut experience if you need to get your mop cut. I think I'm going to head over there later on. Need to trim this bad boy up. And make sure you register for once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home. How does $200,000 sound? Yes, I said it, $200K. Get to any Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Register. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Matrix Home Solutions is your go-to for any home project. Looking for that new man cave? Well, Matrix has you covered. They are your basement remodel experts that also specialize in bathrooms and kitchens as well. With an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, why not give them a try? Call them today at 888-594-8844, or you can always check them out online at matrixhomesolutions.com.
Oh, welcome back here. Big D Energy here. DMac, Sam Flannel, Spenmo, Rax, JB got sent down. It's okay, kid. You got to work your way back up sometimes. You're on one way, though. So it's good. You're getting paid the big bucks. Anyways, we're just congratulating Hutch and Rodrigo for making the Pro Football Writers all-rookie team. But, guys, you know what that means with some of your rookies now going into their second years, the big E. Expectations. So we'll start with you, Sam Flannel. After what you just said, and I agree, is that Aiden Hutchinson, second overall pick coming in, filled his bag and did everything that you expected for him this season. What are your expectations moving into year two for Aiden Hutchinson?
My expectations for Aiden Hutchinson in year two is to 100% make the Pro Bowl. He has to do that. He has to have kind of that Pro Bowl level season. I'd say double-digit sacks, not be more like at the beginning of the season, he obviously struggled a bit. I expect all of those to be gone. I expect him to be a smart player, which he was in the last part of the season all throughout the year. I expect him to be the best player on a defense that is maybe top 20 in the NFL and be a Pro Bowler. I think he is that good. I think he is a guy that moving forward can be an All-Pro. And I think his ceiling is Hall of Fame. But it all starts with a leap in the second year, a Pro Bowl season, and to be a part of a defense, to be the leader of a defense that's a hell of a lot better than it was last year, maybe top 20. And then if they have a top 20 defense, we're definitely talking playoffs, probably a division championship.
Isn't it one of those things, though, and what you're saying, I totally agree, and that's the maturation of Aiden Hutchinson. It makes me wonder, is it some of those games early, if he had made that adjustment, what numbers are we looking at? But with Hutchinson, Spenny, isn't it more about the draft and who they put around him? Because if we're sitting here right now going, okay, I can see similar numbers and want a couple more sacks, but if they go out and they get not a Will Anderson, but say like a Carter, but if they get somebody, right, or that linebacker that could you really see, or how you hear they're going to use Houston on the other side or something like this, does that not open you up to say, holy cow, this could be even bigger than that?
Yeah, it does for sure. You see what happened when he just had Kaminsky come back. That's really when his production started to tick up again. And now you're looking at James Houston's going to be there. Hopefully Julian O'Carroll will be healthy next year. You look at Kaminsky, Buggs, obviously McNeil in the middle. You have hopefully a healthy Josh Pascal next year. And then to add another piece to the center of that defense, whatever it be, you need help on the defensive line. There's no defensive line that is one man and one man only. So Aiden Hutchinson does need some more help, and I think they're going to give it to him. And I agree with Sam. I think it's Pro Bowl, and I want to say 13.5 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson next year.
So you're talking...
Those are my expectations.
Man, 13.5 sacks. That would make him probably what? Borderline... I know that we've got Nick Bosa and guys like Micah Parsons and stuff like that, but if he has 13.5 sacks... Boy, we're talking even better than I thought he would be. And in year 2, he'd be knocking on the all-pro door. But I would love to see it happen, obviously. But I think with Aiden Hutchinson, I think it was unfair coming out of the draft. He was sort of seen as like the highest floor, but maybe didn't have that like superstar ceiling. I think he absolutely has that superstar ceiling.
I think he blew the roof off to show that his ceiling is better. And why is that? Because it was always talked about. Oh, his motor's going to try. But his freaking brain. Like, he being able to take in the concepts or whatever and to grow and to know that you need to improve now is something that I think that when we sit here now compared to a year ago, we go, wow, that ceiling's a lot higher. Man, this looks like these... We're in the church right now. These ceilings are so gosh darn high, right? But Spenny, because one of the things to me more, it's like, how can they help Hutch? How can they move it around? How can Houston help Hutch? What are they going to do? But when I go to your boy expectations on Rodrigo, I pretty much know what I'm going to get out of him. And you know what? That's what answered the bell this year. And I know what Terry's guy, Alex Anzalone, and the flowing blonde hair, but the development that he did with Rodrigo, but be able to cover sideline to sideline and get, right? Remember my question? I just want somebody to tackle Aaron Jones out of the backfield. We got it. So the fact is, but with Rodrigo, he's got to give you meat and potatoes every, you know what I'm saying? Smack in that hole, the same sort of thing. But do you have expectations even greater for Malcolm now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think you see when he's shown he can be a 100 tackle a year guy. That's what I expect out of him is to be in that triple digit of tackles, combined tackles. I expect him to be, double digit tackles for loss. And I want to see him get a couple interceptions next year. I know that was something we talked to him originally about, and he wanted a couple interceptions because he's got good ball skills. He's got good hands. He had a couple. Anzalone stole one away from him later in the year, but I'd like to see him get a couple interceptions next year because I think he can do that. Depending on who they put next to him as well, he might be asked to be in coverage a little bit more. So I'm excited for him, but I think Malcolm has set the bar that he's going to be a 100 tackle a year guy in the NFL.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Spencer. I think he's a guy who, moving forward, can be who we talk about as sort of that true middle linebacker, that complete guy, that guy that is a tackling machine but also is good in coverage, gets some interceptions. Hell, maybe gets some sacks. Maybe they blitz him a little bit more, gets those tackles for losses, which he got quite a few this season. I expect him to be no doubt their best linebacker next year. I expect him to have numbers, like tackle numbers like Alex Anzalone's this year, but be a better overall player. Like Malcolm Rodriguez, just with him, I'm not worried about him at all. I think that the absolute worst that he could be is just another season like this past one. It was a pretty good, damn good year. I just think with Malcolm Rodriguez, he already provides so much, and it can only go up. Like, I want to be talking about him in the next 5 years as like a slightly watered down Roquan Smith type player. I'm not saying he's going to be Roquan Smith. I'm just saying like that complete middle linebacker.
See, I look at it differently though, right? I look at Rodrigo as right now. I think he can develop sort of into that, but that's too much to ask. You want him to be Robin for a bit, a couple of years of Robin. Why do you not need on this rookie contract to bring somebody else in? And I'm not saying draft. I think that the linebacker, there's something to learning, right? All these things you're talking about, I believe that his ceiling to become, but I don't think you need him to be all of that next year.
No, and
right,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying is that I also like to look at bringing, and whether it's, are you bringing back Anzalone? Are you going out and signing that guy? Look at the linebacker. Look at what you have when you're talking about the Roquan Smith, or look at what Fred Warner did. Yeah. Did anybody watch Fred Warner cover CeeDee Lamb, cover wide receiver down the middle and making it? Like, what I'm saying is that, like, and we agree that's extra special. I'm not saying that out of Malcolm, but it's something to develop because that's instinctual. Malcolm Rodriguez is not only tough and physical, but he's instinctual. So I just don't want him to have to take on too much responsibility too early.
No, I understand that, and I think it all depends on what the Lions do. I, for one, and I'm not trying to be negative, I don't know if I expect Alex Anzalone to do the exact same thing next year. I respect the hell out of what he did, but I still don't think it's ideal for him to be your best linebacker. If they get someone in free agency, absolutely, like a Trey Edmonds, for example, I wouldn't hate it, and obviously Malcolm Rodriguez I think would be a good compliment. He'd get to work with the best linebacker he's ever worked with, and I think he would thrive. But if they kind of stand pat and re-sign Alex Anzalone, I think that Malcolm Rodriguez could be better than Anzalone next year. I absolutely do. I think for a lot of this season he already was. But with all due respect to Alex Anzalone, of course, but Malcolm Rodriguez, I think that his ceiling is higher than an Alex Anzalone. And I think if he takes that next step, you're looking at 100-plus tackles, maybe a couple picks, maybe a sack or two, and double-digit tackles for loss. I could definitely see it.
Do you like the comparable? And I saw Cornelius T in here say it. It's a young Teddy Bruschi. Say it like along those lines, because I see both. And what I think about Teddy is cerebral.
Yeah,
cerebral and physical. That's what I have in Malcolm, and I think that it's not that one guy to be able to do it. Here, real quick, how about on offense? Right? Are we all putting the big E on Jameson Williams this year? Are we waiting to see? Because to me, if you don't re-sign Chark, which I don't think you're going to do, or add that big name receiver, then it's pretty much the job is yours. And he knows it going in, and it's about being healthy. But do we think from what we saw out of him in the limited work this year that that's the right play?
Yes, I do. I think Jameson Williams, if they don't re-sign Chark, will be over 1,000 receiving yards next year with 10 touchdowns. You've seen the guy, he had every opportunity he had to touch the ball would have resulted in a touchdown. Like the guy is a monster. He's out there for a reason. I expect a lot out of him next year.
Now, Jameson Williams, and I agree with you, Spencer, my expectations are definitely 1,000 yards. The Jameson Williams question, though, it's a trickier one for me than I think for some, because obviously the rookie class was a damn good rookie class. But Jameson Williams, because of injury, he was pretty much a non-factor. He touched the ball twice. And he has to sort of be that 1,000-yard receiver next year, because I think kind of the elephant in the room, and something that I don't think people want to talk about, is he didn't help your team at all this season. If they would have gone off after, and I'm not saying they should have done it, if they would have drafted like a Jordan Davis, maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they beat Seattle. I'm not saying that they should have, but Jameson Williams, he has to validate and sort of reward the faith that we all have him in his second year when he's healthy, be that sort of Ferrari, have 1,000 yards. I think 1,000 yards is an absolute minimum. Make a couple of big plays. Take a slant route and go 70 yards with it. Make a type of play like that flea flicker pass that was called back. That's the type of stuff that Jameson Williams can bring to your offense. I mean, Spenny, I don't know about you. When that was called back, it was just like a dagger ripped through my chest, because I wanted that for J-Mo so bad, because I believe in him. But he has to validate the faith, because nobody expected him to really contribute this year. We can give him that. but you got to do it this next
Anybody
year.
not see the move also too is to keep your wide receiver to have your 1RR, not paying him $20 million a year or whatever.
Sure.
You call it.
Of course.
No, but the whole thing in a bigger move, I think you nailed it, Sam, is the draft him wasn't for this year.
Yeah.
It was not even about. I think that the run that they had at the end, that if you ask Holmes and Campbell, is that, yeah, we might be able to get there, but no, if the consistency, they were 7, 8, 9 win team, but I think it was they drafted him for this upcoming season and to keep the salary down and whatever else. So all these things that you've already seen or whatever, like you're talking about, I need to see him do this, I need to see him do that. Those are things that we expect to see him do, right? Sure. Are those the expectations is to continue? My thing is that I'm a little skeptical is it's the availability. It's the same thing as Ray. And it's not anything his fault. Like you're bringing up where he was drafted and all this, like he didn't do this. Not his fault to the position he was in. It's where the organization of Brad Holmes has chosen. Now it's his time to sort of show out. But I'm wondering, he's got to prove to me his availability because I don't know if he's like DeAndre Swift and they have to use him. They be careful with him. I don't want that to be. I want him to be that number one guy.
I mean, you could say, though, that a torn ACL, that might just be a one-off. It might be a fluke. That's what we all hope. And I think that, and I obviously don't know, but I think that's very possible. NFL players tear their ACL and come back better than ever all the time now, and that's why my expectations for Jameson Williams are so high, because I think he's going to be at 100%. He's going to have an off season, and he has to show out. I mean, if Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson can have 1,000 yards last season, Jameson Williams has to do it with his first season healthy.
Hey, when he's holding that ball, don't get it twisted. He's watching all these guys that
Absolutely.
He is sitting there going, I'm better than. So there's the motivation to him too. Yeah. And to your point, that proves that the guys coming out of college can play in the pro, at least that class, and so I think it's good. Okay. I think that it's the upside and the ceiling that he has, we don't even know yet.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Jameson Williams can really be a burst of energy for this offense, a burst of energy for this team. And if you need a burst of energy, you can just grab a Syntron, because Syntron is fashionable, functional, and fun. Check out their stylish brand designs with the unique crown and their cool bottle designs. Syntron is with you for all of life's most memorable moments, whether it's clinching a playoff win, closing a big deal, or a fun night out. Syntron is made for celebration. If you are looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Syntron is your choice. Buy online at drinkcintron.com. Syntron is also available on Amazon. Follow them on social at Syntron World to join the Syntron lifestyle for hockey games, to concerts, and also charity events. It's Syntron, the number one choice and the official partner of the Red Wings, the Detroit Pistons, and Little Caesars Arena. Make sure you check out Syntron, and why wait?
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Market, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Get your customized approach to weight loss just like our boy Ryan Ermanni, who just gave me the update as he's on the phone in the next room. He said 14 pounds. He's lost. Like all the ways that weight has affected you anyways, guys. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it is. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have over 20,000 success stories. Let yours be their next one. So, guys, if you're willing to put in the work, this is what it's all about. Yeah, I don't know if you can get from there to there, but there's been great success stories. Former Lion Eddie Murray, former Piston Rick Mahorn, and obviously our boy Ryan Ermanni. Put the work in. Go talk to Jason. Dr. Jason, start losing weight today. Custom Health Centers, give him a call, 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. Welcome back, Big D Energy here. Yeah, any guys, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxter, JB's in here helping with the ones and twos and the audio. Best thing, if anybody wants that I can, anything they want signed, somebody a book or anything like that, self-addressed stamped envelope to Woodward Sports Studio. And one of these guys will make sure that we get it done and we get it back out. We appreciate whatever it is, because I know it's a long drive from Idaho, bro. So just whatever, if you make it to Detroit, make sure you stop by. That goes for everybody. We are, honored. Obviously, snow day today, but usually Sandy comes in on Wednesdays to join us for a bit. So that's why I'm not eating my Pop-Tarts right now. Oh. But anyways, we were talking about football expectations and stuff like this. Is your expectations on Jameson Williams just where we ended it with on the offense? Is it the most? Because do you know what you have in other ways? Have they proven it? Like the Jared Goff sort of proven, you look to the consistency of that season. Jamal Williams, you can't expect him to set records every year, but if he comes back, he's that bell cow.
Sure. I mean, with Jameson Williams, the offense was obviously top 5 this past year, and Amon-Ra St. Brown took that step into stardom. Jamal Williams, 1,000-yard rusher, that offensive line is obviously elite. But Jameson Williams, to me, and one of the other reasons I have such high expectations for him, is because I think he's maybe the most physically talented skill position player they have. I would say it's probably, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown's already a star, but Jamal Williams is a more talented player than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Ideally, Jameson Williams would be your number one if he pans out to where we expect him to. I mean, we saw him in college. I mean, I hate to keep bringing it up, but Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, they stepped right into the NFL 1,000-yarders. I mean, Drake London even, he wasn't as good, but he had Marcus Mariota as his quarterback. Jahan Dotson was good on a per-game basis. Christian Watson. And Jameson Williams was better than all of them in college. Jameson Williams is, other than Tyreek Hill, maybe the fastest player in all of the NFL. I mean, and we saw it on that flea flicker play that was called back. When he's even, he's leaving. He's that kind of.
When he's leaving, JB. Look at that.
And he did it. So
dropping bars.
So Jameson Williams, to me, I mean, especially for next year, absolutely 1,000 yards. But even more so going forward, he could be that guy on this offense that really takes that leap into, I would say, superstardom, which obviously we haven't seen it. He touched the ball twice last year, but that's one of the reasons why Jameson Williams, to me, I have such high expectations for him, is because he was better than all the guys last year.
Let me give you an athletic insight.
Yes.
Right, as an athlete, where he's sitting there, because you know what? Everything you said, he's thinking.
Yes.
He knows.
Yes.
It's the same thing as when you play guys in junior or whatever like this, or as you're growing up and you may have this rivalry growing up, and maybe if it's hockey, so say you fought a guy. You know that you're tougher than that guy because you sort of handled him in that way, or you watch that guy have success, right, while you're sitting out and you're going, I can do this, right? Yeah. If he's having success, if the Olaves and the Wilsons and guys that he played against, and he knows he's the best, the fastest, whatever like this should give him motivation to get out there. What I like to see is how these receivers adjusted. It might be something where you'd sit back and you'd wonder if, say, the first-year receiver class struggled a little bit. There wasn't really a bunch of guys stepping out, but it seems like they can thrive quickly. So hopefully it's the availability with JMO, and like you said, if he's leaving. There's something special there. Now that we saw the way things play out, hopefully he saves it for next year, and it just gives Ben Johnson.
That's
right. Gives Ben Johnson. There it is. The caveat too. Ben Johnson knows what he has, and him and Dan Campbell or whatever else we think it plays. Right. To me, with him healthy in the lineup, it gives you that feel of what San Fran or Kansas City or all these different weapons that you have at your disposal and how you're going to utilize it.
I mean, Ben Johnson, he's shown the ability to scheme guys like Khalif Raymond open, Josh Reynolds, hell, even Brock Wright to where he's wide open. You think he can't do that with Jameson Williams? To me, Jameson Williams could be that guy who's like Ben Johnson's sort of like special toy. Like, I did a lot with... I wouldn't say like lesser talented players, but Khalif Raymond and Brock Wright, I would say lesser talented players. But now he's got Jameson Williams, a guy who has stupid elite speed. I mean, the type of speed that not very many people in the history of the NFL have. And also with Jameson Williams, I'd like to see him, run a few more sort of slant routes or like ins instead of just always running a go route. And I think that Ben Johnson has sort of proven that he can call plays that call for those kind of routes. I mean, DJ Chark, he's the guy that last year came on. I think that Jameson Williams could take those targets and do more with them because he's a more talented player. So Jameson Williams, especially with the Ben Johnson factor that I didn't discuss enough, that could be huge. He could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver next year, honestly. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Would it shock you, Spenny?
It would not shock me. It would not shock me.
Do you see how big that is, though, of you're not only taking this Ferrari, right, getting it healthy, polishing it off, but you're putting it in the hands and giving the keys to the guy, right, that after his first year of offensive coordinator was talked about as maybe getting a head coaching job, which means he's highly respected, which means we saw what he did with this offense, putting 30-plus points on the board in the whole NFL.
Yep.
Right? Being the most consistent. So you put that weapon to him, and I know he had DJ Chark, but he wasn't healthy early on in the season. Once he got healthy, you saw what he could scheme. So she's coming down here, boys and girls. You know what? I wish I had the JMO Waves speed, but you know what? I wouldn't be heading on the football field. I'd be heading for lunch.
Where would I be going, Spenny? You'd be going to Cousins Man Lobster, obviously, because Cousins Man Lobster brings you the best of the Maine coast to Detroit. Try the variety of sweet, succulent Maine lobster menu items at their 2 food trucks rolling around the city. You can find their events scheduled on cousinsmainelobster.com and through their mobile app where you can easily order ahead and earn rewards. You can even scan that QR code right there and figure out where they are. So make sure you check out Cousins Maine Lobster.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
It's the new year. Select Guardian alum offer you customized solutions from real experts, professional technicians that take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs, whether they're business or personal. But I need you to give them a call today. 1-800
Stay out.
24/7 professional monitoring. Call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as you need it to get whatever personal or business is important to you. But I need you to call the number 1-800
Stay out.
Technology backed by people for safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care about what you care about. Like my man Sam Flannel sitting there in the seat. How many straight days? Hold on. How many straight days? Hold on. How many straight days of flannel protection?
200.
200 straight days of flannel protection, because that's what's important to this man. Whatever's important to you, give him a call today. 1-800
Stay out. Stay out of the playoffs, Daniel Jones.
There you go. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Tell them, Big D Energy, we sent you. Oh, it's fun. Anyways, Big D Energy, DMac. Theo will be back tomorrow unless he gets snowed in Brooklyn. Who knows? Sam Flannel back at it. But JB, thank you so much for the help today. You're dressed impeccably in your red and white. You look very good. And you know what? We're gonna have to get you live in the building, just like Sam Flannel last night.
Oh yeah.
One quick question I wanted to ask, because this came about, and I'd seen it on the show sheet, and we hadn't really got to it, and it's just sort of a question. But are you guys, like, as your team gets better and stuff like this, and the NFL talk about, you know, expanding to Europe and stuff like this, are you for or against, or do you care about the Lions going to play you know, games in either London, Germany, different things? I think Germany's where they're talking about having a Lions game. Are you guys opposed to that, or is that okay with you with the 17-game season? To me, it doesn't really take away. Like, you got the 16 games, and if that's the extra one, I think it's good. And expanding the league, I think where our team is right now gives you more of a fan base. It might be the up and coming, the nice new young pick that everybody can get behind, but I'd be for it.
No, I'm okay with it. I mean, and honestly, I'm kind of angling to stick, or maybe Chad. How about a Woodward sports trip to Germany? Yeah, maybe.
You know what? I might. You know, if you make that happen, Sam, and I'm on that trip, just saying that, you know, I might forgive you for some indiscretions earlier in your career.
I've never been to Europe.
But that would be good. But for worldwide stuff like that, it seems more of going to be the norm than anything else, right?
Well, I mean, the Lions, they're actually a team that the NFL wants to showcase to Europe now. I mean, think about it. How their offense last year was top 5. It was a beautiful to watch offense at times. I mean, you saw the plays that they ran, the one to like Penei Sewell, the one to Brock Wright. I mean, that's football at its finest. That's offensive football at its most sort of pure. And now the Lions will be able to showcase it to Europe and to a wider audience. And I think I'm 100% all for it, because these are the conversations that the Lions haven't been a part of. I mean, we're talking about expanding and playing in Europe. It's like, oh no, please not the Lions. And now you want to see the Lions because they're good, and they're only going to get better, and they're fun to watch.
I think that Chuck Brewer brings up a great point. As long as it's not a home game.
Yes.
Right? If it's a road game, and I think that, well, they had to throw that extra game in everywhere, and if it's more of the balance, right? If everybody across the league has to do it, it's just more of that timing, but I think you're 100% right. What are you for it, or?
I don't mind it, but I agree with Chuck Brewer. If they got to give up a home game to do it, I wouldn't like that, but if it's against the Chiefs, that would have been an away game anyways. So, yeah.
I think it's an easier conversation because they already added the extra game.
Yeah.
Right? They made a 17 game. So, and it would seem why it wouldn't obviously work before. JB, you got any thoughts on that? Would that be cool? I mean, you'd have to get up a little bit earlier, like in Spencer's case, just it's an all-nighter. Keep going. That night before.
Just keep going, as Spencer said. I wouldn't mind it, actually. A couple years ago when they had the London games, like, I used to love that, getting up at, 8 or 9 a.m., having a football game on right before, like, the main 1 o'clock games comes on. So I'd be down for it, but I don't want to see them lose a home game, because the momentum that they have right now with the fans in the city, like, we all want to be down at Ford Field, just cheering them on more and more. So as long as it's not a home game, I'm all for it.
mean, it's an uneven schedule now. I mean, so like if you play in Europe, you obviously should have 8 home games, 8 away games, and playing in Europe. And I think that every team playing there would be fine with that. I don't know if that's possible or what they're doing, but it makes sense. So in that case, of course. I mean, what would you do? Play 7 home games, 9 away games? It almost makes
more sense now that the schedule is the way it is, that you could probably work it out. It's just interesting. We've seen London in the past. You know, we've seen, the European football. Which stadiums? I think they have, when you look at the European soccer and everything else, they have the facilities to put it in. So I think they're further ahead. It'll be something to listen to. Anyways, thank you again for joining us today. Big D Energy special thanks to Daniella Bruce, Wings on Woodward, Detroit, RedWings.com, Game Day Live, all that stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. We don't get to do it much, but a little hockey-centric. If you have to do the rewind, go back and look. The first hour was really full of hockey talk, and I couldn't thank the rest of you. So great job, Sam. Thank you. For Spencer Raxer, Flannel Sam, JB, I'm DMac. It's deuces, and we are out.
Well, see you later.